Now, I want to go over with you, because it wasn't done until my show last night on Life, Liberty, and Levin, the specific list of weapons that Harris and Biden are either withholding or slow walking to the Israelis. And they need them now, particularly because there's going to be an all-out war with Hezbollah, and they will not have the full backing of the United States. Words mean nothing. 120 millimeter tank ammo. Anticipated delivery now, 2027, Mr. Bediz. You believe that? 3 years. 120 millimeter mortar ammo. They may get it in 2026 now. They need it now. FMTV vehicles, those are medium tactical vehicles. They may get them in 2026. AMRAAM are medium air-to-air missiles. They may get them in 2027 or 2028. F-15s. Now, these are things that have already been supported by Congress, but they're being slow-walked. 2029. F-135 engines for Israel's F-35s. 2030 to 2034. JDAMs. Those are technologies that convert unguided bombs to precision-guided munitions. 2026. So nothing this year and nothing next year of these systems that are all being withheld, as well as the tank ammo and the mortars. But I'm not done. Here are items that are ready for shipment right now, but are on hold, on formal hold by the Harris-Biden administration. MK-84s, these are the 2,000-pound bombs. They're ready for immediate delivery, but they're being withheld. And obviously, they're going to need them if they're going to take out Iran's nuclear program. What else? Rifles. The Biden administration has prevented the sale, even from commercial sales companies, of rifles to Israeli National Police. Anticipated delivery maybe in a year. They have withheld rifles, again, from Israeli National Police. The first were the Colts, the second are the Daniel Group, maybe in a year. They are withholding .338 medium machine guns, most of us know that as Sig Sauer machine guns, for the Israeli Defense Forces, to be determined. And the withholding from the Israelis, from the IDF, JDAM Boeing guided missile systems for at least 6 months. So they're slow walking 7 types of equipment and systems and are literally blocking the delivery, again, already approved, of bombs, rifles, and guided missile systems from the Israelis. We've never seen anything like this by any administration, including Obama's. We have never, ever seen anything like this being done to our ally Israel. And tonight, as they are having to prepare for war, keep in mind, it's a tiny country with a small population. The vast majority of the IDF are made up of reservists. These are just common citizens. They are exhausted. Many of them haven't seen their families for the longest time. They need the tank munitions. They need the medium-range missiles. They need the guidance systems. They need these things that Congress passed and provided to them, which are either being slow-walked or blocked by the Biden administration. And they're doing nothing about it tonight. And, in fact, there are reports of massive diplomatic efforts by the Biden administration to put enormous pressure on Netanyahu and his government not to respond to what Hezbollah did. The greatest attack against the Israelis since the prior greatest attack on October 7th. Now, while they're doing this to the Israelis, they have put no new sanctions on Iran. The oil keeps flowing. They keep selling their oil to China and others. They're buying weapons and arms from other countries. Apparently, they're getting some of our own weapons and technologies as well and putting it in their munitions. They are muscled up the Iranians like never before. They're providing sophisticated weapons to Hezbollah. Hezbollah is their true army. I mean, they have their own army, but true foreign army. They even have technologies now that are going to allow them to electrically interfere with Israeli radar systems or the equivalent thereof that the Iranians have just sent them. While we're holding back on basic mortars and rifles. It's a horrendous thing. There's one candidate for president who supports Israel, and there's one who does not. Trump supports Israel. Kamala Harris hates Israel. Hates Israel. And if you're a Marxist and you're a radical, you hate Israel the way you hate your own country. And if we had a real media in America, she would be exposed for exactly who she is and what she is, and she'd be creamed in the next election. But they're doing everything humanly possible to create a caricature, a fiction, the way they did with Biden for the longest time. Here's President Trump at a and by the way, that slaughter that occurred in Israel, slaughtering the Druze children, Kamala Harris still has not said anything. Oh, they put out a statement 24 hours later, but she still has not personally come out, condemned it, and spoken out about it. And I would say this to the governor of Pennsylvania, Democrat, Jewish, we were told over and over again, you are disgusting. You are pathetic. The idea, as Joe Biden would say, the idea that Kamala Harris, who's part of the Tlaib, AOC, Omar, Bernie Sanders wing of the Democrat Party, an outspoken hater of the state of Israel, despite all the insinuations that she supports Israel, that's all crap. She's made it abundantly clear. You can't support CARE. You can't speak to these Islamic groups. You can't say, do not use the phrase radical Islamic terrorism. You cannot say the things that she said after she met with Netanyahu or refused to show up in a joint hearing, a joint Congress, and then tell us that you support Israel. I know. The idea that the governor of Pennsylvania, Democrat and Jewish, would even allow himself to be considered as a running mate for the most pro-Hamas, pro-Iran, pro-Houthis, pro-Hezbollah candidate in American history, the most anti-Israel candidate in American history, that you would even allow your name to be considered because you're such a power-hungry little weasel. Oh, he's got 61% approval in Pennsylvania. You know how you get 61% approval in Pennsylvania? I'm telling you, as a Pennsylvanian. That's where I was born and raised. To act like you're a moderate Democrat. Then you get moderate Democrats, you get the wild-eyed freaks in and around Philadelphia, I know, Montgomery County, that's where I was raised, that's where they are, all the liberal kooks. You create perceptions, pseudo-events. Oh, he's a moderate. Oh, we love the guy. 61 votes. Fantastic. And he's either going to be selected or the bald guy from Arizona. All of a sudden, he's changed his views, too. Bald guy from Arizona, former astronaut, who should be saying, I don't want to be considered. Look what you've done to my state with the open border. But these guys have no principles. All power hungry. But here's Trump. Here's Trump in his rally in St. Cloud, Minnesota, Saturday. Here he is, outspoken, unequivocal, defender of Israel, defender of the government of Israel, defender of Netanyahu, under whose tutelage, that is, Trump, under whose foreign policy, peace was breaking out everywhere, including in the Middle East. People couldn't believe it. Now look at it. Now look at the Harris-Biden foreign policy. Here's Trump. Cut one, go.
Before we begin, I want to condemn the evil attack on Israel that took place earlier today. A missile launched by Hezbollah killed at least a dozen children, young children. And they were playing, as you heard, on a soccer field in Israeli territory on the Golan Heights, a place that I recognized during my administration as under Israel's sovereignty. It was a big thing. They've been trying to get it done for 72 years. I got it done in about 1 hour.
So true. So true.
The savage Hezbollah terrorists struck these children with an Iranian precision missile. Dozens more were wounded in the attack, and sadly, the death toll is probably going to go very substantially higher. Our hearts go out to the families of these innocent children. No parent should have to suffer the terrible loss of a child at the hands of terrorists or anybody else. Today's attack on Israel cannot be forgotten, and it will go down as another moment in history created by a weak and ineffective United States president and vice president. They wouldn't have done this if I were the president. They wouldn't have done it.
And they didn't do it. Exactly.
With time, the situation will only get worse for our country with the kind of leadership that we have right now, which is no leadership. It's probably worse than no leadership. It's negative. It's negative leadership. It must galvanize Republicans, Democrats, independents, conservatives, progressives, libertarians, and everybody else to put strength, respect, and power back into the USA where it belongs. This attack, just like the attack on October 7th or the Ukraine-Russia war, think of it, nor would country-busting inflation. You know, inflation is destroying our country. None of it would have happened. It would have never happened if we were president. It wouldn't have happened. It's a dangerous and terrible time for the world. And it's almost the entire fault of incompetent Biden-Harris administration.